Hello, folks. Okay. I already did this video once. I was wearing other clothes. It took several days ago. It took me a while to figure it out and fix this mic and all that stuff. So I had to get a new mic cord, which is $8, and it costs $8 for shipping. So there you go. Actually, I should see if they have it in Walmart. I kind of doubt it, but not the cord by itself. They probably have the whole thing, but we'll see, I guess. Otherwise, I have to save up $35 in order to get the shipping for free on Amazon. Otherwise, it's like $30 in shipping and $30 in stuff. Well, it's $8 for the cord, another $8 to ship, and then if I get something else, I have to go all the way up to $35 in order to get free shipping. It's ridiculous. Anyway, this video is going to be about some stuff I realized the CNAs were doing that I hadn't really thought of before. And this kind of goes along with what I put in that video as far as, because the CNAs put everything on you, they make you think everything is your fault, I guess. It's a form of intimidation. I don't think that, obviously they don't intend to be intimidating, but they are. Because you feel like crap. You feel stupid for complaining, and et cetera, and so on. So it's kind of along those lines. Because they've intimidated me to the point where I wasn't even thinking about this. But my light was on the other day. I needed to be changed. My light was on for an hour in third shift, which is the night shift, and an hour in first shift, which is the day shift. And then the girl comes in. It was actually before an hour. It was like an hour and a half. Like a half hour in day shift. The girl comes in, says, "I'm still changing somebody else. I'll be with you when I'm done." So I put my light back on after she was gone for like 10 minutes. I said, "Well, it's almost breakfast. I want to be changed before breakfast, so definitely I'm putting my light back on." So I did. It was like right at breakfast time where somebody else came in. Well, actually, somebody came in before I turned the light back on. They came in again, and then finally put me in a chair. But I was thinking about it, and the key, or the gist of it is, why was I still waiting for somebody else to be changed when my light was on for an hour in the shift previous? So either they didn't change anybody at all, or I should have been first. And they come in as if they didn't. What do you need? Like they didn't even know why my light was on. My light had already been on at this point for an hour and a half. And they come walking in like I just turned it on. And this happens all the time. Now, the shift previous, I was awake and I know that they started doing their rounds, their final 2 hours of changing everybody. They started at 4:30 in the morning because I was awake. So I was awake and heard them going up and down the corridors with their little bags and their bucket that they put the laundry in and all of that stuff. Then I've had other CNAs say, "Hey, let me know when you're done." I put a light on, and then they come over to change me, and they're like, "Are you sure you're done? Let me know, and I'll come back in here." So I wait all the time now. I wait like at least 20 minutes, a half hour. make sure everything's good, and then I put my light on, right? So that I'm doing what they asked me to do. So this morning when I put my light on at 6, I've actually been sitting here since about 5:30 or so, needing to be changed, right? So I put my light on at 6, figuring, well, 6 is plenty of time. Oh, hell no. And I should know, because on second shift, it's the same way. If I put my light on at 10, second shift ends at 11, and then third shift comes in. If I put my light on at 10, more than likely, I'm not going to have anybody at all come answer my light. It has happened, I think, once or twice. But most of the time, it doesn't. I can hear walking around, but they're like, we've already helped him, we're not going to help him again. And that seems to be, I know that's what happens on third shift, because, and it didn't happen this night that I'm talking about, but it has happened many times in the past. Like, they'll help me at, say, midnight. They'll come in and empty my urinal or change me or whatever, depending on what was that going on at that point in time. And then it's like, they've already helped me once, they're not going to help me again. I've actually had some say that to me, and which is crazy. It's like, what? You're only going to help me once per shift? And this is on second, third shift. Now, it doesn't really happen that often on second shift until that 10 o'clock comes and goes. And then it's like, for most part, you're not going to get, nobody's going to come in here until third shift at the soonest. And that's if you're lucky enough. And now I've complained enough to where people actually come in on third shift to check on me. They didn't used to at all. Now they do. But my point, now that I get overactive bladder and I use a urinal, they only have to change my, or empty my urinal once or twice maybe, if that, per shift. So on the third shift, they've gotten used to where they don't really have to check on me. So now when 4:30 comes around and they're doing their rounds, 4:30 to 6:30, 7, whatever it happens to be, right? They don't check on me because they figure it's just a urinal. I'm assuming they just figure it's a urinal. They're not going to bother. Well, I also need to be changed every now and then, in addition to my urinal, and that's what happened this day. It was a few days ago, so that's why I keep saying this day. But I put my light on a half hour after I was already in need of a CNA. I put my light on at 6. I didn't get anyone come in until 7:30. Is that right? An hour and a half. Yeah, 7:30. Every time I make a video, I start yawning. All right, at 7:30, I got someone come in. They said they were still changing somebody. They'd be right back. After about 10 minutes, I put my light on again. Somebody else came in who happened to be walking by. I need to be changed. Turned off my light. All right, I'll let them know. After a couple, and I didn't wait very long. It was like 2 minutes, 5 minutes, something like that. Turn the light back on. Now 8 o'clock rolls around. It's time for breakfast. So the same girl came in with somebody else to put me in the chair. Not the girl that came in the first time at 7:30, but that girl that came in and turned off said she'd tell somebody. She came in with somebody else to put me in a chair. I guess because somebody complained about me saying something or whatever, putting my light back on. And then they went to change me and said, oh, because once they realized why I was putting my light on, all of a sudden it made sense why I kept putting my light on. It's like, what? You know, I'm a grown man. There's a reason why I'm doing this stuff. It's because either you're being an idiot or because Well, it's still, you're being an idiot because I need to be changed. You're being an idiot the way that you're acting, or the other person or whoever, whatever's going on. I should be changed. And if I have to, why am I having to wait when they finish their rounds? Now, see if you can follow this, all right? Some of you already got it, and you're complaining because I said follow this, but some of you haven't. So let's see if you can follow this now. They do their 2-hour rounds. They finished changing everybody before breakfast on third shift because that's what they're supposed to do. Finished. Now, first shift comes in and they start all over again? Why would they start all over again when the people on the last shift just changed supposedly everybody? Except me, of course. For some reason, it's not me, but everybody else. All right. Now, first shift comes in, and they start all over again. Why? They're really not. They're not. They say they are, but they're really not, because I've been up at this point. I've complained so much that sometimes they actually get me up at 7:30, or I think 7:30 is the earliest so far. And they've gotten me up, and I wander around, and I'll look, and they're sitting out here at the nurse's station doing nothing. So this is what they're doing now when I need to be changed. But they refuse. They absolutely refuse that they're not going to come in here and change me because I want to be. This is the attitude I get from a lot of these people, is that they refuse. They're not going to do it. Well, instead, they're going to sit out there on their butt and sit at the nurse station until breakfast time, even though I've needed to be changed for over an hour into the previous shift. So by rights, they should have already changed me and at least changed me and got me ready to go into the chair, if not already put me in the chair, right? Because I can go, I've told them, put me in the chair anytime, 6, 6:30, whatever, I don't care. As long as it's before 9, I used to sleep in the chair. I don't really care when you want to put me in the chair because I'll just go to sleep, right, if I need to be. If I need to sleep, if you want to get me up at 3, put me in the chair, go ahead. I'll just go to sleep if I need to. I don't care. So put me in the chair as long as you're putting me in the chair before I'm supposed to be up in the chair at 9, 9:30, whatever, so I can go up to the kitchen and do what I got to do up there because you said so. If you didn't say that, I'd still be saying before lunch. I don't care. I'll probably I was starting to get pissed off about that because it was right at lunchtime. It's like, what are you, crazy? I said anytime before lunch. That means as soon as you're ready. Not right at lunchtime because you want to wait till the very last minute to put me in the chair. That's ridiculous. But that doesn't happen anymore, so forget about that. So what I realized the other day is, why am I waiting? Because this isn't new. This has been going on all along. There was one time I waited for 13 hours to get changed. That is, what is that? That's over 2 shifts. That's 3 shifts that I had to wait because I'm not going to change him because he wants to be changed. That was the attitude I was getting. I'm not changing him because he wants to be. Well, what if the reason is there to change somebody? Most people, it's because they need to be changed. So if I'm waiting for 13 hours, and I've told these people, I've been waiting. At one point I said, I've been waiting for 5 hours to be changed. Well, I just got here. You'll have to wait till I'm done with my rounds. Okay, why? Why am I waiting? I've been waiting for 5 hours. Why? Because you just came in? That's why I'm waiting? because I'm going to interrupt your status quo, the way that you do things? How about I'm the resident and you're not, and I've been waiting for 5 hours to be changed? Maybe that should be taken into consideration instead of, well, I got to do my rounds, because I'm not included in rounds. To this day, I'm still not included in rounds. And I just talked to a girl, the woman who's the liaison with Medicaid, 3 days ago? Yeah, it was the day after this happened. And it was that day on day shift. I said, what is the deal? Why am I not included in, how do you get on this list for rounds? Because I've been here for 10 months and I literally count on one hand, literally, how many times I've been asked, do I need to be changed? Now, if rounds is happening every 2 hours, which it's not, it's happening once per shift, 2 hours before they shift change. That's what I've noticed. If that's what it's happening, why that means that 3 times a day I should be asked. I've not been asked, but I can count on one hand in 10 months how many times I've been asked. Why? Their answer is, I don't have an answer for you, Mr. Jones. That's their answer. So I said, well, I'll tell you what, put me on this list, because according to my care plan, I have bowel and bladder issues, right? I don't, really. But that's what's in my care plan. If that's in my care plan, what else is there? You're paralyzed? Well, I'm paralyzed. I'm from the diaphragm down. I'm about 90% paralyzed. Okay, there's not that either. So what is there? What else is there that they're doing rounds? Why are they changing people? Why are they doing rounds if I don't qualify? If I don't qualify for rounds, nobody here should. That's the way I see it. Nobody here should qualify at all. Because if anybody qualifies for rounds, it's me. And now the girl that liaisons with Medicaid said she'll do what she can to get me put on that list, but it means that I might get woke up in the middle of the night, etc. I'm like, all right, so, and what I do is, in the meantime, they come in, they say, hey, do you need to be changed? I say no, or I say yes, whatever, right? But just like anybody else, really, anybody else should do, is that they either need to be changed or they don't, right? All right, so that's what I should be doing. That happened once, the first shift that I asked, and it hasn't happened since. And that was 3 days ago. It happened one time. The same girl that asked me that first time later on in that day did not check me, and I had my light on for an hour and a half. Told me that she'd be back. This was at dinner time. Said she picked up my tray and my light was on. She said, why is your light on? I said, well, because I need to change. So she said, well, I'll be right back as soon as I put this tray up. It was an hour and a half later. My light was on almost the entire time, because a few minutes after she left, I turned my light back on because she wasn't coming back. She didn't come back for an hour and a half. And then she came in and said, why is your light on? I said, because I'm still waiting for you to change me. She goes, oh, I must have forgot. Now, this is the same girl that came in here earlier in that day and said, we're supposed to check on you more often now, because of what I said to the girl that's liaison to Medicaid. And it hasn't happened since. So, I don't know. That was my complaint for this video, I guess, was that it's more intimidation. That's what it is. I don't think they intend it, but it ends up being intimidation. It's intimidation through neglect. They don't understand that that's what they're doing, but that's what they're doing. By not checking us, we get to the point where we just don't question it. We don't say anything, and we should. We should be complaining about this because it shouldn't be happening. I shouldn't be waiting for an hour of last shift, an hour of this shift to get changed. I should be getting changed during the rounds of the previous shift. I shouldn't have to wait until at some point in the next shift, which is always, in my experience, been last. I'm always last. And that shouldn't be it. I should be getting changed at the same time as everybody else. Never happens. All right, so like, comment, subscribe, and if something similar happened to you, comment about it. Tell me the story. Maybe I'll have you on here. Maybe I'll interview you. If you can, send me some crypto or buy me another coffee or something like that. That's in the description. And until next time, thanks a lot.